Okay, so I had a video suggestion by a commenter by the name of Bladem, and so they said that they came across a pack of coyotes, and nothing happened, but at the moment they felt underarmed. So what they had a Karambit. I believe they said they had a cold steel talon, and I thought it'd be fun. It was his suggestion too, and I thought yeah it'd be kind of fun to go over some different options for blades and just talk about kind of like the pluses and minuses, just like in self-defense and what they're kind of concentrated to do, what they're like designed to do. So each one of these, I mean, they're all knives. They can do basic knife things, but just their design has an emphasis on certain aspects of what a knife is. So and also everybody has like different likes and stuff like that. You know, like some people like things that are heavy, choppers, stuff like that. So this isn't really me. I am gonna say what I think is the best for me, but it isn't like a suggestion. Kind of, it's just basically just like a mental exercise, just to see what each thing kind of does and try to explain it a little bit. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go over just basically the smaller versions of the knives I have here on the table. So bigger is always better, in my opinion. So if you're gonna go for a walk and stuff like that, but it's kind of I would imagine people carrying just something discreet, something small. So that's why I'm gonna go over like the folding knives basically on this table. But I thought it'd be kind of fun just to have like the larger versions of it, just to the larger versions have kind of like an exaggeration of the qualities I'm going to talk about each knife. So all right, now I'm going to start with the Kukri basically. So, and this is the Rajah too. So Kukri, its design is for chopping. And to make a good kukri, you basically have to have weight in the front, a lot of weight in the front. The thing overall has to weigh, like, not a lot, but you have to have a good amount of weight just so that when you do chop something, you have some weight behind it when you hit something. The second difference is the blade shape too. The blade shape itself, so when you do hit something too, when I see a kukri, I kind of imagine a little hatchet, in the sense that you don't have much material. So if you were to imagine this just being a handle, and then this being the blade part, it kind of, to me, it makes sense seeing it as a little hatchet. So you have a lot of area of material here, and in the back you have a smaller amount of area. But unlike a hatchet, if you do happen to hit in different areas, this curvature lets you draw material into the blade, and this curvature here lets you cut also, because whenever you swing at something, it's going to be at a radius. It's going to be like a circle, semicircle, and anything with a curvature helps you cut. So this would be distance basically. This specific knife would be like, let's say you like, and reach is like paramount, but this would be reach, chopping, not so much for close quarters. Ice pick grip, not really that great, because how the point is away from you, and in general too, the handle designs, even though you can have it in ice pick grip, you can have it forward. All these things, like I said, they are going to be able to do almost everything. They are going to be able to chop, slice, poke, but some things are going to have better emphasis. They're going to be better at each thing than other knives. So this specifically is if you like something that chops. If you want something that feels like a little hammer and that can chop well, isn't that fast basically. I mean, it's fast but not on recovery. You basically would want this. Like I said, I'm not going to go over the larger examples, but if you want me to, let me know too, just in case, and I'll probably do another video and just have those. So for a Tanto, and almost like samurai swords too. Samurai swords, and from what I understand, and I haven't seen like a like a good example of a samurai sword, but like everything I've seen, I mean in person, but everything I've seen, they usually don't have much of a taper at all. So tantos are basically the same thing. They usually don't have any taper. It's all same thickness, which gives it a lot of rigidity, gives it a lot of strength. So these are good for thrusting, for poking. You want rigidity. You don't want something that'll basically lose a lot of energy when you poke at something. You don't want something to flex. You want all the energy basically directed at whatever you're poking. So these are good for poking. Very strong tip. Very very reinforced tip, and they're actually also good for slashing because they're not gonna slash or cut as deep as a Karambit. I mean a Karambit, as a Kukri, but they are gonna slash pretty deep because of this. So for an American Tanto, this little corner here. So when you do hit something, this basically multiplies a lot of the force in this area. So this would be something you can slash with it. It would not chop as deep as that, but you can use it for piercing. And it is overall pretty easy to handle, even the larger version too. So this is kind of a mismatch. Whoa, mishmash. I mean. So it is a Chris, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's also a dagger. Ti Lites are basically daggers. That's what they are. So same thing. Very thick, a lot of rigidity. Reinforced tip. These are basically meant to poke stuff. This is what they are. Anything that has so the pluses for a dagger, which in general has they usually have thin blades. A dagger can get into a lot of areas that a normal knife can't. Plus, if you poke something, and all of a sudden, like if you have a super wide knife and you poke something, sometimes whatever you're poking all of a sudden has more a better grip than you do because of just surface area. So these are quick. You can poke and then repoke something very, very quickly. They do have a little bit of slashing capability. They are basically quick. That's what I want to emphasize more than anything. They're quick for poking. They're quick for slashing. But they're not gonna cut as deep as this in slashing. They're not gonna cut as deep as this. But when it comes to poking, they're gonna be a lot faster in just basically in multiple pokes than a Tanto would be, just because of the weight, the width. It's a slower weapon. But as a Chris, there we go. This okay. I've tried cutting things with it, and I haven't really seen a difference in just from cutting. Like, let's say if I cut something with a dagger, and I cut something with this. I don't know. I don't see much of a difference in. I think the tip actually makes the biggest difference. If you actually hit something with the tip, you do get a deeper cut just because of how it's curved forward, more than anything. But the Chris itself, I think it just doesn't have enough weight behind it for the Chris shape to actually make a difference. But I don't know. I haven't done enough tests. These are just cutting just normal things. But if you do get a Chris, well, I'll show the big one. So a Chris knife, the thought behind this is basically contact, a little bit of loss of contact, and then contact again. So imagine, imagine like you're smashing like trash in a trash can. I should have thought of an analogy before I did this, but all right, let's go with that. So you're stepping on branches. Okay, let's just make it clean trash. You're stepping on some branches inside of a trash can, and so you can just step on it. Whatever weight you have is what you're gonna basically put on there. But let's say you jump on it. You know, you're now adding speed. So you're adding speed plus your weight. It multiplies the amount of downforce you're giving it. So the idea behind the Chris is you are letting go and hitting again. That's what you're doing. Plus you have this slicing motion too. All of a sudden you have just like a kukri, you have something that gathers material. So it cuts, loses contact, goes in deeper, and well, you would gather material here and just cut again, but basically at the same time, you're basically going you're hitting it harder when you're going into the second piece, the second area. So I mean this, I haven't noticed much of a difference on this, but if you do get a crisp blade, that's the idea behind it. So crisp blades, the idea is more cutting capacity with a lighter blade. So a chopper can cut really deep, and this is okay. So this is, let's see if I don't go off too far on on this. Okay. So you want something to cut, you can either put a point on it, so that will concentrate the cut on a singular point. You can add more weight in the front with a curvature that will add more force to the point, and then basically draw material to the cut. And then you can do multiple areas where you will draw material multiple times, but also at the same time recontact whatever you're hitting, giving it more force each time. So this is it's supposed to save you on weight, make it a little bit more faster. Same thing with this. Let's just say this one. That's what it's supposed to do. Save you some weight. And it's supposed to, like, you're trying to get the cutting ability of a larger knife into a smaller, lighter blade because of the shape. But while just using the shape, basically. Okay, so hopefully that's not. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. The next one is, so this is just like an S-shaped knife. They call it Vaquero. So it's a Vaquero Grande, but this one has serrations. And serrations it's the same thing. It's contact and then loss of contact and then contact again, basically. But so same thing, same thought design as a kukri, but you basically take off all the weight in the front. So you see the shape, it's almost the same, except now you just like remove all this mass on top. So what that does, okay, it gives you cutting capacity because of the shape of it, and then you basically add even more cutting capacity because of the serrations. But because you lose all this on top, it is faster. It cuts. There's less impact behind it, so it doesn't cut as deep. But you can also now use it to poke with. So it gives you a little bit more of an ability to poke forward. I mean, the other one can too, but this is just faster, so speed. And then the Spada, and in my opinion, the Spada is basically it's a Bowie knife. Well, actually, I don't know if it's been actually used for as well. Let's just say, not my opinion. I just think in general people think it's a Bowie knife. So a Bowie knife in general, if this was a proper Bowie and it had an actual back cut, so if this was also sharpened or at least brought down to an edge, so you do have some good amount of cutting capacity because of the curvature. So if you do cut something, it is going to help you because of that belly. But if it was a proper Bowie knife, it would have a back cut too. But then Bowie knife has there's a lot of blades that, I don't want to say proper Bowie. Well, let's just say there's a lot of blades out there that are called Bowies. But if this particular knife had a back cut, it would basically act like a dagger. It would also act like just a regular cutting blade. But then you can also do a back cut with it. An extra edge would help you too in puncturing something and poking something, because it would make it easier because you have two sides cutting instead of just one, and it would probably just create a larger hole. Bowies are nice. This is something that it's kind of it's more utilitarian than most of these knives. So if you look all these, they're basically kind of like concentrated on self-defense. If you try to cut something on a table with a Tanto, you're basically going to use that tip all the time. This, you can cut things, you can cut, rope and everything like that, but this, you can cut something on a surface, and it's fine. So this is kind of something that you can use on a lot of stuff. You can use also as for self-defense. It's kind of like a middle ground knife. So it does cut well, but not as well. And it does poke, but not as like quickly. It will poke as well as like other ones, but it's kind of like a middle ground, which this actually makes it really nice, because if you're going to be carrying a knife all the time, like I've never used my knife as self-defense, which I'm like super happy about, because I want to, it's just in general, I rather not. So, but if you want something that you're going to be using your knife for just in general things, I think this shape would be better. But like, the reason I thought this would be like a good like a mental exercise is because we're put in a position where it's basically just self-defense. So, all right, now, but that one, it's kind of a middle ground in comparison to all these. And then, so the Karambit, I only have one Karambit. There's a lot of patina on this thing. I've never really liked Karambits too much, and I'm not. This is just my opinion. I mean, it's not. If you like Karambits, that's good. It's I have my reasons and you have yours, so it's good to have opposing reasons, because everybody has a reason for the reason. But all right, so the reason I don't like Karambits is because to me they seem kind of like. All right, let's say like the whole situation with the coyotes, or let's say if they were wolves or whatever. Coyotes are like, well, but let's say in that situation, when it does come down to cutting, in my opinion, you to stop something in its tracks. It has to do a lot with, I think cutting, you have to concentrate a lot with disabling something mechanically than you do than you would by sticking something. So I mean, I'm trying to make sense. If you poke something because of hitting vital parts, you have a bigger chance, I think, in my opinion, in stopping something quickly than you do if you go just by cutting. And these, I mean, this one I guess you can poke something with it too, just because of the general size. But most of the Karambits I've seen are basically like 3 inches. 3.5 is probably the biggest, but 2.5 is probably, I would call it the norm. So Karambits in my opinion, depend a lot on basically targeting. I mean, everything cuts tendons and muscle and all that stuff, but on disabling something mechanically, by cutting specific areas so that they're no longer a threat. While something that can poke can just go down to a vital area, which basically would disable something like a coyote or whatever, very quickly. Depending, I mean, it both takes, I guess, like aiming at specific areas or whatever. But I think it's better to have something that can poke than having something that can just in general cut. But that's that's just me. So if you have something that has a thick coat, going to that question, something that has a thick coat, there's multiples of them. and then they're basically a lot quicker than you are. So my opinion, I would just die basically. I think if they attack me, I think that's the end of it. But let's just say, I had to choose. I would go with this guy over here, and so if you have something, and I know I'm cheating because I'm going by just things that fold. I mean, okay, let's say a folder. Okay, I would go with this if I had to choose a folder. So this thing can poke something. It can poke something quickly, and it can and repeatedly. But by the time you poke some coyote, you basically he basically bit you. So and then you got all these other coyote friends. But whatever. All right. So if I had to choose, yeah, this guy right here. And I don't know. But yeah. But if I had to choose like a fixed blade or a larger weapon, I would choose this guy. And because this is something, okay, this is kind of like my opinion on knives that I've just learned from making knives. I used to make really, really thick knives and, robust or whatever. But I've been concentrating on balance and feel of a knife, like quickness and things that can do multiple stuff at the same time. So this in general right now is kind of like the epitome of what I've been able to do. And that, I mean, I don't know how much that says, but so if this knife, it can poke, it is very quick because it's light. It is forward heavy, so it can cut. It does have that curvature, so it can cut. It can help you cut with that curve, and just in general, it does have this little hand guard, so it's not gonna go forward. Your hand's not gonna go forward and get cut. But in general, this knife to me would give me let's say the best. The best chance, I guess. I don't think I would have a chance, but whatever. It would give me the best chance. So, but in general, this knife, that's what I would go for. So quickness, being able to poke, being able to cut, but everything has to be quick, and then reach. So quick everything plus reach, and this would be it. The only thing actually I would change, and I can't because this is Vanix, and I can't get Vanix anymore. I would make this 1/8 inch. So I'd make this slightly thicker, and just find a way of keeping the same kind of weight. So, all right, just a thought exercise. Hopefully this is kind of fun. This was kind of fun to you too. So, all right, bye.